Hey yo, what's good, people? It's your boy reporting straight from the 2000s. Welcome to part 1 of our deep dive into the ugliest sneakers the 2000s ever cursed us with. And trust me, this ain't even the worst of them. The early 2000s were a wild moment in sneaker history, that weird Y2K stretch where every brand swore the future was now. And the future apparently meant metallic armor, alien shapes, and basketball shoes that looked like they needed to have a NASA clearance to wear them. So in part 1, we're stepping into the futuristic disaster era. The shoes that tried to reinvent the game and ended up looking like props from a low-budget sci-fi movie. Hit that subscribe button, lock in, and grab your old 2000s jeans with the carpenter loop because we're going back to an era where creativity had no brakes and no mercy. Let's get into it. The early 2000s were a strange time for sneakers, no doubt, and nothing captures that moment better than the Nike Flightposite III. This was the shoe that walked into the decade like it had something to prove, even though nobody asked it to. It carried the same DNA as the original Flightposite line, but instead of the sleek, futuristic confidence that Penny Hardaway made iconic, the Flightposite III showed up looking like the future had been rushed out the door before anybody stopped to ask, does this make any sense? It has this full armored shell that felt less like basketball gear and more like something you'd expect a supervillain to pull out of a hidden compartment. The design had a cold, alien attitude to it. No softness, no curves, no personality, just raw, I dare you to understand me energy. And that zipper down the middle, man, that zipper looked like it was protecting state secrets. It didn't help you hoop better. It didn't make them easier to wear. It just sat there like a distracting piece of hardware you had to explain every time you pulled up somewhere. But the funniest part is how seriously folks tried to rock these. You see dudes at the rec center marching around in these things with baggy denim hanging over the top like they were wearing government-issued footwear for a mission that didn't exist. You could hear the shoe before you saw it, that stiff, futuristic squeak every time somebody tried to cross over. It wasn't a basketball sound. It was the sound of a shoe trying to communicate with its home planet. But yo, if the Flightposite III felt like a miscalculated leap into the future, the Adidas Kobe II was the moment the entire sneaker industry realized you just can't force futuristic onto a shoe and hope people pretend it looks good. The Kobe II didn't feel like a basketball sneaker designed for the next generation. It felt like a prototype Adidas accidentally released because somebody forgot to delete it. This shoe came out during Kobe's early ascension, when he was stepping into superstardom with the afro, the attitude, the drive to be the next great Laker. Adidas should have been marching that energy with something iconic, something smooth, something worthy of a player who was already crafting a legacy at 23 years old. Instead, they gave him a shoe shaped like a cordless home phone. The whole thing had this strange, blocky silhouette, like a computer mouse with laces, and the sole looked like two pieces that were refusing to get along. What made it even crazier was how serious the marketing tried to be. The ads treated the Kobe II like it was some advanced piece of technology, sleek, polished, ahead of its time, while the shoe itself looked like it belonged in the electronics aisle at Circuit City. Kobe hated the design so much you could practically see the frustration in his eyes every time he wore them. Yo, this wasn't dislike, this was disappointment. This was the kind of shoe that made a man rethink his entire contract. By the time the Dada Cdubz hit the scene, sneaker culture had already taken a strange turn. But this shoe pushed things fully into a "are we being pranked" territory. The Cdubz wasn't designed, it was polished, literally. Dada dipped these in chrome like they were detailing a custom car, not preparing basketball sneakers for the NBA floor. You couldn't wear these without feeling like you had headlights on your feet. One step into the sun and the whole court needed sunglasses. Chris Webber deserved better, bro. This was Sacramento-era C-Web, the mid-range savant, the triple-threat big man with one of the smartest games in the league. He was smooth, crafty, unselfish, and Dada laced him with something that looked like a reflective emergency blanket wrapped into a hot top. Every other brand was focusing on tech, cushioning, cutting weight, and Dada was focused on giving you a sneaker you could literally check your fade in. Walking around in these felt like being followed by your own personal spotlight. They squeaked, they creased, they smudged, And the moment you tried to actually hoop in them, you realized chrome is for rims, not ankles. The shoe was stiff in the wrong places, loose in the wrong places, and weird everywhere else. Hey yo, real talk, there are ugly shoes, there are confusing sneakers, and then there are the Dada Spinners, a shoe so outrageous it crossed over into cultural folklore. This wasn't a sneaker, it was a moment. A very loud, very shiny, very questionable moment in early 2000s fashion when everybody was so hypnotized by the bling era that somebody at Dada really said, yo, what if the shoe had rims too? And instead of laughing, everybody nodded. That's how you know that era was different. The Spinners were the natural evolution of everything that made the Cdubz ridiculous, turned up to the maximum disrespect. Same chrome, same heavy build, same inability to blend into any outfit known to man, but now with a tiny spinning rim attached to the outer heel panel. Every time you took a step, a wheel spun like you were walking around on 22s. It didn't matter how slow you moved. The shoe was gonna make it look like you were cruising. Latrell Sprewell was the perfect face for it too. He was tough, unpredictable, fearless, and unapologetic. Everything this shoe needed to survive, even a week on shelves. The 2000s were deep into the BET Rap City energy, where every music video had chrome Escalades, duplicate chain sets, and a wind machine for dramatics. The Spinners fit right in. They weren't meant to be practical. They weren't meant to be subtle. They were meant to make you stare. By the time the T-Mac 4 dropped, the sneaker world had already been through a few years of questionable experiments, but Adidas wasn't ready to slow down. They looked at the landscape, chrome shoes, spinning shoes, zipper shoes, alien shoes, and somehow said, yep, we could take this further. And what they delivered was a sneaker built around one idea, a lockdown system absolutely nobody asked for. The T-Mac 4 didn't believe in laces. Adidas threw laces in the trash like they were outdated technology. Instead, they gave Tracy a mechanical strap system that snapped across your foot like a seatbelt. Literally, the shoe buckled in, clicked in, tightened in, and made you feel like you were prepping for takeoff rather than checking ball. You didn't put these on, you secured them. It looked impressive in a this belongs in a sci-fi locker room kind of way, but once they hit the court, it became obvious these were a bad idea. The system was too complicated, too stiff, and way too extra for hoopers who just wanted to lace up and get to work. The strap made the shoe feel like it was hugging you in all the wrong places. And if you loosened it, the whole thing became a floppy mess. No middle ground, no comfort zone, just extremes. And what's wild is that T-Mac was in his prime. This was peak Tracy. Effortless scoring, smooth footwork, that laid-back confidence that made everything look easy. Adidas should have given him something equally smooth, something that flowed with the game. Instead, they handed him a sneaker that looked like it belonged in the props department of an early 2000s superhero movie. If T-Mac had worn these in T-Mac vs. the Rockets front office, maybe the plot would have made more sense. The early 2000s really had us out here fighting for our lives. This was the era when sneaker companies were dreaming bigger than the designers could draw, pushing out shoes that look more like experiments than finished products. The Flightposite III, the Kobe II, the Cdubz, the Spinners, and the T-Mac 4. Every one of them is a reminder that the future hits a little different when nobody slows down long enough to ask, should we actually do this? But as wild as these sneakers were, they shaped the culture. They gave the decade a kind of flavor, chaotic, bold, unfiltered, and sometimes straight up hilarious. They showed the beauty of an era when brands took risks without fear. Hoopers wore anything if the check cleared, and nobody was scared to pull up in something outrageous just to see if they could make it work. Part 1 was the futuristic meltdown phase. Next up, we're stepping into the mid-2000s signature shoe struggle, where great players got stuck with designs that couldn't keep up with their talent, and where affordability culture, street ball hype, and brand confusion created some of the most memorable misfires of the decade. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and we're gonna catch y'all at part 2 real soon. Until then, keep them laced up, yo. We out.